going on, and that includes a story just released over on ESPN by Adam Rittenberg, an update on the Iowa State gambling story, as well as, can't call it the Iowa State gambling story. It's really the state of Iowa gambling story, is it not? With both the Hawkeyes and the Cyclones being involved there. But we do have, I guess, some more information starting to come out as far as, what exactly has gone on. And while I was gone on vacation, one of the big shoes that dropped was that obviously Iowa State and quarterback
Hunter Deckers.
Hunter Deckers. Gosh, I had J.J. Cole stuck in my head. He's the quarterback now. But Hunter Deckers was, involved, and that was obviously a pretty severe blow for the Cyclones, losing your starting quarterback for an unknown amount of time. Well, it's gotten worse, guys, in the last few minutes. 4 more Iowa State players, 3 more players from Iowa, 2 of them who had transferred, 1 just remaining on the Iowa football team, were all charged today in the ongoing sports wagering investigation. And the name that pops out in this story is Iowa State running back Jarrell Brock was among those charged. Former Iowa player Reggie Bracey, who now plays for Troy. Adam Rittenberg, with all these reports, got into the details. He, for example, made 66 wagers while underage on sporting events, 2 of them on Iowa games in which he played. So that's a big no-no. Michigan and South Dakota State were the other games, I guess, per an affidavit that he came across. Also, former Iowa player Arlen Bruce IV, who now plays at Oklahoma State. He placed 11 wagers through DraftKings on games in which he participated back in 2021. Also placed 8 wagers on Iowa games last season. So those are some of the details that are starting to come out as far as this latest round. But Jarrell Brock, starting running back, after losing Hunter Deckers for who knows how long or what. We knew, talking to the Iowa State folks like Brett Bloom and, others, that this could get a little sideways. But man, oh man, Jarrell Brock being mentioned, that is a tough break for Matt Campbell and company.
Well, yeah, we just had Jamie Pollard on the other day, and he explained it pretty simply that, it's like a video game. And that's the thing, I think, that when you look at the simplicity of this and how it can get so out of hand, that there are athletic directors around the country stocking up on the Tums and Advil and hoping that the guys who have done this graduate and move on before the state starts investigating those kids. Because it's going to happen. Like, Iowa just moved so fast on this. And
the state, you mean?
No, I'm talking the state of Iowa. The state of Iowa in investigating this and looking at these cases moves so quickly on this particular thing that's why it's Iowa and Iowa State in the crosshairs. But if the state of Colorado did it, or the state of Washington, or the state of Texas, or whoever did the same thing, I have a feeling that all your state universities would have similar results as this.
Yeah, no, most likely. Absolutely. I'm sure there's a lot of people shaking in their boots a little bit over this whole thing. And, not only is Brock a blow to you, but you're also looking at other starters. You're looking at tight end Deshaun Hanukkah, defensive lineman Isaiah Lee, offensive lineman Jake Remsburg. Each have been charged in the gambling investigation, according to the Des Moines Register. So multiple people on this story, and the Des Moines Register's done a really great job with Brock in particular. He allegedly placed wagers on 4 Iowa State football games using an online wagering account under a different name. 2 of those games that he appeared in, he also he wagered on 2 of the games that he appeared in, which included the 2022 Cyhawk game.
Wow.
As well as the team's matchup against Kansas State. So, according to Cyclone Fanatic, the Des Moines Register, the criminal complaint also included wagers on 13 Iowa State basketball games for Jarrell Brock in particular. So, they came from his cell phone. They've identified that, his personal cell phone. His wagers totaled $12,050. So, you can unpack this whichever way you want, but it's a bad deal for Iowa State. And they are kind of like them and the Hawkeyes are kind of the examples that are out there.
I've got a question. There are affidavits he's charged with. So this is a criminal investigation?
Yeah, that's why this is...
The underage betting, is that... these guys are gone, right?
I don't know how much widely this was reported, but I'm certain it was picked up on. He wasn't practicing because clearly they knew that something was going on. So he had not been working out just, regular during fall camp. And so that tends to lead me to believe that, yeah, this is pretty not. It's big as far as his ability to play there ever again, but yeah, there's criminal charges that are facing these guys as well, and I don't know how all that works. I won't pretend to, but yeah, it's not good.
And honestly, the underage betting, not that it's good, but that's probably the least of the worries. In that, I'm sure that underage betting is going to happen a whole lot since a lot of these places, all you have to do is put in like, what's your birthday? Well, put in whatever your birthday is. They don't even ask you for your ID. It's just put in a birthday that makes you 21. Like, you ever go to a site that sells out? Like, if I wanted to look up, oh, hey, look, I guess Balcones has a new flavor out. I want to read about it before I go try it. I go to their website, and it says, are you at least 21? And I say yes. And then it either asks me to put my birthday in or just goes. So that's just their little thin disclaimer they have to. And casinos, maybe a lot of them have the same thing. I don't know about DraftKings, which is a gigantic, huge company, but as they get it in more and more states, it's just going to become more and more prevalent because, again, kids are it's easy for them to do. And if they think they have some sort of knowledge of something, they're going to think it's easy money. But
I got a question. I think back in the day when FanDuel was the Texas does not have gambling.
No.
Oh.
But the online ability to go on to DraftKings or FanDuel, is that something, if you live in Texas, you can do?
You can do daily fantasy through DraftKings and FanDuel. You cannot place a bet on a game.
On a game, okay.
So,
all right.
yeah, they got through, and that's probably because Jerry Jones and Mark Cuban and the sports owners have partnerships with DraftKings, and they can't take that money from DraftKings if you can't go live around next to the stadium and play daily fantasy. So there's all that. That's why that happened. And Texas, everybody's trying to put, like, there's groups trying to pass it everywhere in all 50 states, sports betting. We'll see how it goes along. I think it's completely legal in 13 states. It's coming in like 13 more. By 2025, it should be in like 35 states, people believe, how it's tracking with sports betting. And I could be wrong on those numbers, and if I am, feel free to correct me. But this is going to be an issue for colleges for a while, because you can tell somebody and educate them all you want, but people have free will, and, dumbassery at the college level of like, well, I'm just going to do this. They're never going to find me. Well, this has been the easiest. Like, I promise you, because DraftKings doesn't want to be dragged through this. They need colleges to eventually, take their money too, right? Mm-hmm. And if they want that and they want to advertise and be legitimate in college betting, they can't have college players betting on it. So they're being very forthright with this because they need their licenses and all those things to be upheld. So this is maybe the easiest investigation the state of Iowa's ever done.
I'm curious about this, Craig. I know you have plenty more. I wonder if they can find out how many of those 11 Iowa State basketball games that Brock apparently bet on, how much of that was information he may have gotten from the players on the Iowa State basketball team about a player that was injured or somebody coming back that perhaps wasn't out there.
Well, I don't know, the fact that they can peg how many he made that was on a false cell phone, that the location or whatever. I mean, it's probably something they could swing, but obviously that would be a lot more difficult than just technology helping you out there to make personal connections, and
right.
How much of a spider web that can become. But regardless, I'm sure that's something they will look into. But yeah, that's horrible news for Iowa State. I mean, 4 starters from last year, not counting. That's just 4 more starters today from last year's team, including your star running back, who now joins your starting quarterback in this gambling limbo, and Iowa too, with their own set of players that are also affected here. So again, Iowa DB Reggie Bracey, wide receiver Arlen Bruce IV, and wide receiver Jack Johnson, all charged with records tampering and the DCI sports wagering investigation. So add that on to it's just it's a lot going on there in the state of Iowa with gambling, and you can unpack that a lot more. But I saw Chris Williams, who covers the Cyclones, talk about it. It's staggering, I think is the way that he put it, of how many games that these players from both schools were betting on, much like their own games, like the number of their own games they were betting on, and he is not making excuses, but says, I wonder how much this goes on across the rest of the country. Can you imagine could be thousands of people across the country who are doing the same thing. Thousands of athletes, I would imagine. And maybe not thousands, but at the very least, I'd feel good in three figures that there's hundreds of athletes, if not more, doing this. So, yeah, there you go. So now Iowa State, check the season preview magazines. And go ahead and scratch out their two, biggest name players basically on offense.
And now you've got players at Troy and Oklahoma State are probably going to be ruled ineligible as well.
Yes, exactly. Since some of these guys transferred out to Oklahoma State, for example. So yeah, there's more to unfold here that will affect more than just the two Iowa schools. But man, what a story that continues to be and continues to get unpacked here. Meanwhile, follow up. It was many.